Well, howdy. Now, this is ridiculous. Howdy. Yes, I'm Gray Pilgrim. Well, the 19th century was an interesting time. Everybody was really into black powder during the Civil War, and they were shooting off a whole bunch of these front stuffers. They had already developed breech loaders, rimfire in particular, but the Ordnance Department of the Union decided changing calibers in the middle of a war was a really stupid idea. So they just issued 1863, I think it was, and later muskets to all the troops. And the South certainly didn't have any industrial capacity to really do much of anything, so everybody fought it basically with regular muzzle loaders. But in Europe, things were a little different. Remember, just about the time of the Civil War, well, actually just a little after, a fellow by the name of Victor Emmanuel II, who was king of, I think, Sardinia and Venice. And gosh, I'm not big on Italian history. Anyway, he rolled into Rome, which was under the control of Pius IX, who was the Pope, under the Papal States, and said, sorry, you're not in control anymore, I am, and this now unifies all of Italy, and go back to running a religion and don't run a country. Well, his armies, that is Pius IX's, they were equipped with Remington rolling blocks, which are probably the most modern thing in all of the Italian army. Well, that didn't settle well with Victor Emmanuel. He wanted everybody to have the same thing. So he went far and wide and looked around. Well, the Swiss just north of him had come up with an interesting idea and had developed one of these. This is not a Swiss one, this is an Italian one because he adopted it. This is an Italian Vetterli. It was developed by an Italian named Vetterli. They're all about 11 millimeters, 10 or 11 millimeters, around 45 to 50 caliber. This one, I think it was 10.4 was the original caliber of the thing. Well, I'm showing you something with a Mannlicher feeding system. Why? Because this is a later Vetterli. It was in World War II for a secondary standard. You know, the Italians were equipped with Carcanos, but they had a whole slew of these laying around. Well, originally this was a single shot black powder, well, 41, 45, thereabouts caliber rifle. And before it was equipped with this thing, it used to have, let me show you one, a Vitali magazine. This was the very first thing developed for multi-shot rifles. And this magazine was developed by a fellow named Giuseppe Vitali, who was in Victor Emmanuel's army, and decided that he could come up with a way of equipping this with a 4-shot, 4 in here and 1 in the chamber, and you end up with basically a 5-round capacity. So this is an actual Vitali magazine. I don't know what it's off of. The reason I say that is Vitali then sold this idea to the Swiss, and they put it on their Vetterlis, to the Dutch. I forget, he sold it to several countries. I can't remember all of them. But anyway, and speaking of the Dutch, let me show you something. Oh, by the way, as I was saying, in World War II, these things were sleeved to 6.5 Carcano and chambered in 6.5. Don't ever shoot one, period, ever. There's a reason. You can just sit over there for a minute, okay? So these are called an 1871, 1888/1910 Vetterli. And this is called an 1870/80 something Dutch Beaumont that has a Vitali magazine on it. This shoots the original 41 caliber round. I know because I made these. You can't get this round anymore. It's very similar to a 41 Egyptian. This is a very unique rifle in that the mainspring is actually inside the bolt handle. That's why it has this big fat bolt. Notice there are shells in it. That's because it also has a magazine cutoff, which I have engaged, so that they don't feed. If you look back through my history, you'll see a video I made on November 11th, 2018, 100 years after the guns went silent in the Great War. And in it I shoot this thing. That's the last time I ever shot it. I wouldn't shoot it much. They're a beautiful old rifle. I put this is off of a shotgun, but it sort of fits here, and it holds my remaining, what do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, so 5, 6, 7. I have 7 rounds left of Beaumont. These things are a bitch. They're very difficult to make. Let's put it that way. Anyway, the Beaumont is just a beautiful rifle. I picked this up at a gun show for, I hate to say it guys, 160 bucks. The guy had no idea what it was. I knew what it was, but I wasn't going to entertain him with education. I was going to entertain him with money. And he took my money, and I walked off with a Beaumont. And it's a beautiful old rifle. This one does have a crack here, but it's been repaired. It's only on one side. And it's a bit rough. It has a cartouche, but I really can't read it. I don't know if this is one of the ones, the Delft ones, or I think it's Uberlik or Umer, I don't remember, something like that. I can't speak Dutch. But interesting other thing about the Beaumont is you notice the screw here? This works very similar to a Gras or a Labelle in that it's a 2-piece bolt. You unscrew this, take the back part of the bolt off, then take the front part out. It has a striker type firing pin, and the only locking lug on it is the actual handle or bolt handle that it locks right here. This is only meant to shoot black powder. There are recipes for good smokeless recipes for it, but they're very mild. I do not suggest giving it a full diet of smokeless. I would suggest giving it, black powder or nothing at all, and just hang it on the wall. But anyway, those are the 2 rifles I know of. 2 in particular I know for sure use the Vitali magazine system, this thing. Though this one, that one, they screwed up on it and made it for 6.5 Carcano, sadly. I would love to find an original, but that one was all I could find at the time. It was, compensation, it was relatively cheap. Anyway, some of my weird guns